All right, Shalom. Before I start, going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakorash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, peace, blessings, and salutations to all go like to Akim wa Aqua, learning and teaching truth and sincerity, and the video through the Spirit. Your brother Malak from GMS Detroit. And real quick, I want to give a shout out. I had grabbed this video from the brother Mahaloya out of Kansas City, the head brother out there, Shalom. He did it on his channel, right? I'm just grabbing this same video. It says we had never seen anything like it, blood pouring out of our faces. And this is some testimony of the people over there in Venezuela who apparently got hit with, some of the new cutting edge technology weapons, direct energy weapons. And I got another clip I want to play. Y'all, Esau Edom, he's used to being the bully. The American military is used to being the big bully of the earth. It's easy to pull out your superior weaponry on people, who are not as equipped. But what America is not used to is fighting people with similar and or superior weaponry. And that, when the great World War III pops off, despite his advanced weaponry, Esau Edom is going to lose. America is going to lose, as according to prophecy, because he's going to get jumped by the other nations. So it doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter what type of crazy shit he has, y'all. Yahushai whooping his ass, the angels whooping his ass, right, with the 144,000, and the other nations gonna whoop his ass. He gonna be getting it in, but he's gonna lose. So let this play for a minute.
The United States used directed energy weapons on Venezuelan soldiers during its kidnapping raid to capture Nicolas Maduro. Redacted has independently confirmed this news from multiple sources. And what we can tell you is that this isn't new technology, and the United States has used it on...
I'm sorry, y'all. Videos like this, you get a real... These are the type of videos you got to come check the comments, because people who are former... like videos, like these so-called conspiracy type things, people who have firsthand testimonies, they'll be giving their testimonies in the comments, right? Guys who are military, you look right here, right? I tried to tell everybody that a direct energy weapon was used in Lahaina, Hawaii. Right here, this is one that says, this is crazy. Over 10 years ago, I was going into business with a fellow who was a private contractor for the military, and he worked at Nellis Air Force Base. And he told me that when he worked there, they were testing a new type of drone that had an energy weapon attached to it. And he leaves a big comment essentially saying the shit can make you bleed out of your ears, go deaf and blind. So, videos like this, y'all, check the comments, man. People will tell my granddad, he, was one of the engineers on such and such a project, So let's go back.
Multiple previous occasions that have gone unreported. More on that part of the story in a second. But first, what happened last week? Because even if you think you're pro this raid or anti this raid against Maduro, it doesn't matter. You should still be asking, what in the world did the United States actually deploy in Caracas on January 3rd, 2026? And what is it, and how did it work exactly? First, this was Operation Absolute Resolve, part of a larger Caribbean campaign. And the U.S. used roughly 150 aircraft in strikes around Caracas before Delta Force and CIA operatives grabbed Maduro and Celia Flores and then flew them out. Reuters also frames this as like a strategic message, especially to China and Russia, which supplied air defenses. They were quickly disabled in the opening moments, offline. Now, here's where it gets pretty freaky, and I'm sure many of you have seen the transcript that's now been circulating from a Venezuelan security guard loyal to Maduro. In fact, White House press spokesman Carolyn Levitt even retweeted it. So it got a lot more coverage, basically confirming that, yep, this is true. The story he tells lines up with what a modern electronic warfare and directed energy weapons can do, and this admission by him spooked a lot of people. And by the way, I should point out that the technology that was used is decades old. The stuff that we have now, just mind-blowing. stuff that they're working on now that makes this stuff look like ancient in a lot of ways. So this is what the Venezuelan soldier told. I'm going to read a portion of the transcript here. He says, quote, all of our radar systems shut down without any explanation. And then the next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones flying over our positions. He then describes barely 8 helicopters and maybe 20 men total, but with a level of technology advantage that made hundreds of defenders feel totally helpless. Let me put on the screen one piece of this quote, which is really the full tell here. He says, at one point they launched something, it was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. We all started bleeding from our noses. He says, guys were vomiting blood and unable to move. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was. Those are his words. First, the eyes go blind, and then the bodies just fall down in a heap, basically. Nose pouring blood out. Your head feels like it's going to explode. Totally helpless. So what are we really talking about here when we say directed energy? Well, a bunch of people online are kind of mashing 3 different things together. First, electronic warfare means attacking the spectrum. That means you don't need to blow up a radar if you can just jam it, if you can just spoof it, if you can just overload it, or cut the network. It depends on, totally. So it's just sitting there stupid. It can't do anything.
So, buddy, a soldier down there was giving firsthand testimony, y'all. And we've been watching these movies for years, these famous Hollywood movies, right? Shit with Tom Cruise in it, shit with Matt Damon in it. And should you be surprised that this guy actually has this? No. The video games, one I like to always talk about, X-Acto rounds, the sniper bullets that were designed to lock on to the oxygen trail coming out of your face. I first learned about it in a video game years ahead, and then lo and behold, they unveiled it. DARPA. Matter of fact, let me do this. 1 second. X-Acto rounds, right? These said you shoot it. It can bend around corners. All right, it moves in real time. Self-steering bullet. That's a short. This is the actual real footage right here. I'm gonna just knock the volume. I don't know if that music is copyrighted. So you see he shoots it, but the bullet is changing direction in midair. And this is back in 2014. This is over a decade old. So like he said, y'all, hey, they have these advanced weapon systems, they've been wanting to use, and now they have time to use them, right? And this is why, we know it says, Esau Edom, one of his blessings was the sword, y'all. The Heavenly Father has given him, great weaponry, right? Let me get this out of Daniel right quick. That was Ezekiel. That was one of his gifts. Daniel 28:3. It says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. So, hey, the Heavenly Father, Esau Edom, he's the modern day Tyrus. He's been allowed to acquire much wealth and power in this world through his knowledge, of technology, right? It's allowed him to establish things. And of course, us the Israelites, we've been integral in, many of the inventions and whatnot. This guy is able to utilize was off our backs. But this man gets the benefit. Now, it's easy to bully people who don't have the same, technology as you or capabilities. Esau Edom is used to being the Don, when he shows up, the king, the boss, the ruler. He's not used to being bullied back. And that's why I want to get this next clip to show. So this is a video I happened to come across last night. It says the hard truth Iraq veterans learned in Ukraine. So this is a guy, who, an American soldier. He's a soldier, and he's now, he's had some campaigns with the Ukraine and Russia thing, and he realized how horribly unprepared he was. Y'all, hey, Esau. He's used to, you know, shooting and killing people who he has much advantage over. Folk in hijabs and our asses in the hood with Jordans on. He's not used to dealing with people who have advanced weaponry like himself. He's going to lose this war. So to us, he's advanced. To us, he has, great power. But now he has to fight with people that are able to get down like him.
As much as I'd love to go and say that my experiences in Syria and Iraq are completely usable inside of Ukraine, just not the case. So today we're going to take a look at some of the tactics that we need to change, us Iraq and Syria veterans.
So I'm going to fast forward, that's the intro. I'm going to fast forward specifically to a particular point that he was making. I believe it's 4 minutes in. Let me double check. Okay, right here. Here we go. And like I'm saying, y'all, I'm not downplaying Esau's power, right? We know the Heavenly Father has given him, great power in this world. But there's a reason these other nations have been gearing up to fight this nigga for decades now. And according to prophecy, y'all, they're going to be fucking successful. They're going to burn this bitch. And yeah, so, hey, you American troopers, yeah, you big and bad when it comes to beating us up. Us civilians, you big and bad when it comes to beating up some Arabs in the desert. And really, they was rocking your shit. In Vietnam, they was rocking your shit. But how big and bad are you when you're going up against other world power nations like Russia and China, who can also pack a bang for their buck? Let's see how them Americans are doing.
For you isn't for you. There's no break. It is so stressful, at least for me. It's sad for all of us legacy infantrymen to go and see what modern combat has become. You could be the most prepared guy with many years of experience, get out there on your first day and get struck by an FPV because the guy on your team doesn't have a shotgun, because your uniform leaked a little bit of thermal and now you got artillery coming on you. As much as we hate to say, wars don't revolve around the infantry anymore. Wars now revolve around sensors, logistics, production, and replacement. Not just infantrymen on the battlefield. And the next is assuming that medevacs are fast. Yeah, you're getting a medevac. You're hit. Oh, man.
So war is no longer, man to man, gun to gun. It's about that tech. And America is not the only nation with that tech anymore, y'all. And this is what he's, because remember, they went over there. You had a lot of Americans go volunteer to be on the Ukrainian side, fighting Russians. And he's telling you, you praying to God, hoping one of them little drones don't fly your way. Because when they were fighting Ishmael, they didn't have to worry about little FPV drones sneaking up and blowing up the whole squad, like you said, because your mans didn't have a shotgun. Hey, Esau, he's gonna have his way with us, right? With civilian population. We're unarmed and we're untrained, but how are they gonna do when the other big boys come marching and stomping through? They're not going to do so hot, baby. They're not going to do so hot.
We're going to come in there with 5 Humvees, get you out of there, Casevac. No. That doesn't work anymore. If you bring in a diesel truck with 200,000 miles on it, every GRAD system, every SPG gunner is going to try and kill you. Time is of the essence, but if you're injured and there's 5 fiber optic FPVs waiting on the one road that medevac can come down, you're staying there, dude. Like, you're going to have to figure it out. You're going to have to crawl your way out. This happens. And of course, there's a bunch of small things too. Poor dispersion habits, ignoring overhead concealment and cover. Yeah, there's tons of different things that we had to go and change up, but these are a couple of them, and it's important to go and say because I still see a lot of militaries around the world not adapting and thinking in the past. So I just got to give my 2 cents. That's what I do here. So I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yep. So he's telling you how, the soldiers of the past, a lot of the guys who have the experience right now, they're not really ready for the new type of war that must be fought, right? So, hey, Esau's big and bad when it comes to us. But is he going to be big and bad in this great war? And the answer is no, and prophetically. So we just have to trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. At the end of the day, y'all, hey, but we know us, the Israelites, us, the Israelites, excuse me, we're outmatched either fucking way. You know, we ain't fighting nobody in no goddamn war. We don't got shit, period. Uh, so we're waiting on that spiritual power, right? These other nations, they gonna fucking go at it. They gonna go at it, and they gonna have them some fun. What do you say? My nigga Mac off Predator. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. I'm gonna have me some fun. Hey, let's get this. Isaiah 14:9. It says, "Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming." So destruction is about to make its way to Esau, Edom. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. The other nations, they're the dead. We see that again in Revelation 11. Dead because they don't have the wisdom. They're getting ready for what? The war. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So the nations, y'all, they've been building up and getting ready to go to war. And prophetically, we see that they will be successful. Nigga. They're going to be successful in their endeavor of going to war with America. So as advanced and as mighty and as powerful as this man is, he is going to meet his defeat by the other nations. EU, NATO is going to turn on him. The beast shall hate the whore, Revelation 17. And then to conclude it all, y'all, who's going to take away the victory? Let's go to second Ezra. So despite, and this is just a reaffirmation video, y'all. Hey, he has his tech, but we have Yahweh Shai in the spirit. We know what the prophecy says. So don't fret. Don't fret. Second Ezra 13. I want to start at let me see. I want to go to we know right there in verses 8, right? But I want to jump Yep. I want to jump down here real quick. Second Ezra 13 and 30. It says, "And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth." So as the nations are fighting, right? Who's going to return? Yahweh Shai. Completely blindside everybody. It says, "And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another." So the world will be at war. You're going to have civil war within America. Other places it's already going on. You're going to have race war, right? People are going to be teaming up with people that look like them. Then you're going to have countries versus country. And we can see now how it's getting stirred up, right? Some of the moves that Trump is making is really pissing people off. So, hey, it says, and the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen, which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of Mount Sion. And hey, we know how this goes. So the nations are going to be fighting. Then they're going to try to get up and fight against Yahweh Shai. And then what's going to happen? Now we run it back to verse 10. It says, "But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid." So that's how this wraps up, y'all. We take away the victory through Yahweh Shai. He's coming back on the big chariot. And through the fulfillment of the prophecy, Esau, Edom will be destroyed. Our archangel's gonna be getting down. Yahweh Shai is getting down. It's gonna be a good time, y'all. It's gonna be a good time, a glorious day to trust in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, to have made him your refuge, right? So, don't fret. He's coming with his, and our cavalry is coming too. So I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakorash, the honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all the elect Akim, Wa Akwath, learning, teaching, and truth and sincerity. Shalom.